Hello everybody, welcome back to Mistakes Were Made, and welcome if this is the first video of ours that you are seeing. Today we're going to do our cash envelope stuffing, so we are going to get started with that in just a second. I think, did I forget something? I hope not. I don't think I did. I think we're good. All right, so first things first, let's see how much money we are working with. We've got 100, 200, 50, 300, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 85, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 400. Now then, just as an FYI, this normally would be $560, but we had an IOU on the pet fund to our job loss cushion. We had to pull $160 to pay for one of the many appointments we seem to be having for Mr. Gus. So that 160, which is part of our standard cash envelope stuffing amount that comes around during this second pay period, went just directly into the account to pay it back. So we are skipping, futzing with the money for that. But that said, we do have AAA to fund, and it gets $13. So we've got a 10 and 1, 2, 3. Which means we are at 10, 20, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, $39. What on earth did I do with my pen? I am ill prepared, everybody. I am ill prepared. All right, so it is the 18th of November. $39. There we go. Oh, come on. All right. Next up is birthdays. We are done with birthdays for this year, so we are now just bulking up the envelope. The next birthday we have to deal with will be in July of 2025. So we've got 10, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. Okay, so 11, 18, we have $31. Okay. Christmas. Okay, so we have determined that we have not been good stewards of mathematics where Christmas is concerned. We are definitely going to be light. So very likely we will need to have overage in the Christmas section, which means it'll reduce any extra payment or extra money we have at the end of the pay period as we do our Christmas shopping. We have figured out we probably need to have $600 for the year for Christmas instead of the $350 we were kind of tentatively going towards. So next year, instead of doing $12 per pay period, we will be doing 25. So that is definitely going to change our budget up. All right, but for now we're still going to continue with the $12, even though we know it means we're going to be a bit short of where we likely need to be. Of course, if some folks don't tell us what the heck they want for Christmas, maybe they'll get 0. Of course, we would never actually do that, but we've got 50, 100, 50, 200, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 1, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, $276. And honestly, I don't even think we're going to meet the $350 mark that we put on there as kind of the total amount we would get. Not with what time we have left. So yeah, we kind of borked this one, but that's okay. We should be okay, even though we're going to definitely be out of budget with, or at least have costs that go beyond what we have saved specifically for Christmas. Okay, next, car maintenance, we do not fund. Clothing, we do. It gets $5. So we're at 5, 10, 15, 20. Oh boy, here we go. Here we are. Okay, dining out and entertainment do not get anything. We wiped this sucker out this weekend. Being out and about, doing stuff with the apples and everything like that. So we are not going to be doing anything dining out or entertainment-wise that costs any money for the next 12 days at minimum. Garden and yard does not get funded this pay period, but gifts do. Now, it gets $5. That puts us 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Excuse me. When we kind of determined we're going to be fairly light, we did decide gifts is going to be one of the areas we're going to raid. So we're going to put this $30 in the bucket for Christmas, because what this is for is if we have, a baby shower or white elephant gift or, some type of gifting outside of the immediate family. And in talking with Mr. M, he didn't really anticipate having anything like that for his work. I obviously work from home, so we're not going to have anything for my work. And we will just start to refund again at the beginning of the year. And anything that currently going to gifts, which I think will just be another $5 for the December second pay period, it's just going to go to work towards Christmas coverage. So got to be flexible. Giving does not get anything this pay period. Groceries, however, gets $200. Oops, come on. I'll tell you what, just as a little kind of personal insight, I am trying to embrace a little bit more of a carnivore diet and less carb diet. I am when was that? I think 2 year diagnosis of type 2 diabetes. I had never had it before. And then my numbers were very catastrophic. It was actually kind of surprising to the doctors the way that I managed to get myself into the ER. It was basically, I was having blurry eyes, low light. It was hard for me to see. I had lost 30 pounds within a month, less than a month. And so, I Googled what that meant, those different symptoms, and they had different things like, oh, well, you could have a really bad flu, or you could have cancer, but diabetes was on there too. And there were a couple of other things. And I was like, you know what? For the things that I can try and check, I'm going to see about diabetes. So I actually went and bought a blood sugar, tester thing. I never used one before. I took my blood test and the numbers were in the 500s. And so I went back online. I was like, so what does blood sugar of 500 mean? And essentially it was like, yeah, you need to get to the emergency room. I was like, oh, okay. So I didn't feel comfortable because this was at night. I didn't feel comfortable driving to, urgent care or the emergency room. Just because my eyesight, the blurriness and low light I was concerned about that. So I called my mom. She took me to urgent care. They redid, the blood test, and they're like, yeah, get to the emergency room. So we got there. They were really surprised that I was up and walking around. I know this is my first experience with any of that. So I was like, all right, I don't know what to tell you, but here you go. And they were a little bit shocked about, the fact that I had taken the initiative to check this, to try and figure it out. And that's how we determined that my blood sugar was high. In the end, I was in the hospital for 3 days while they did stuff to bring my blood sugars down. Started off with, metformin and insulin. And after about 6 months, the first month and a half, maybe 2 months, we really, really watched the nutrition, and we were watching carbs like a hawk, carbs and sugar. And it was funny because my doctor was like, no, don't worry about that. Let's get your med situation figured out, and then you can worry about your food intake. And I was kind of like, well, that doesn't really make any sense. If food is what's spiking me, it makes sense that I need to be more careful with that. So whatever, we kind of did that in tandem, and then I got lazy and stopped paying as much attention to the food side of things and let kind of the meds do their work. It didn't take very long for me to get to a point where my numbers were very steady using meds. And then we got to a point where they had me stop doing insulin, and I was just doing metformin. And then the doctor that I had at the big, towards the, I was like right around where we were starting this channel and all that, there was a lot of stuff going on. They had me start doing Ozempic, and I did that for, I think 2 months, 3 months, maybe it was 3 months. I never noticed any difference. As far as if we're talking weight wise, my blood sugars, were already pretty stable. So that maintained. But there was a change to our insurance. So the method that I was getting the Ozempic was now no longer affordable. So that went down the tubes, and basically I'd been maintaining my blood sugar just through sheer will and, trying to eat properly and things like that. So that's gone off the rails a bit. And that's how I know this situation is definitely having an impact stress-wise on me. Because I definitely have been stress eating, and I've been stress eating bad stuff if you're diabetic. So I am now working to help bring my blood sugars back down to where they were before, via nutrition. I really need to get exercise in there too. I haven't done that. We stopped going to the gym once we got the notification about my job because it was an additional cost. But we might be in a position now where we can add that back in. We want to be really careful though that we don't start adding a whole bunch of stuff just because we've removed debt. So, but I've been looking into things and it kind of made sense to try and bring some of the pieces of the carnivore diet into our lives because that should help reduce the possibilities of lots of sugars and lots of carbs. Sounds great, huh? Unfortunately, as a kid growing up, I was a child athlete. I used to compete quite vigorously, like going to state and things like that in my particular sport. And so me and my body are used to carb loading. I was built on preservatives and sugar and carbs. So trying not to eat those things has been very, 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 very difficult for me. And as I said, I am a stress eater and I really don't even think about it. And I go directly to sugary things. I love candy. I love cookies. And quite frankly, the sugar-free or low-carb versions of those things taste nasty. So it's been a struggle. That said, since I started this, I've also been doing a little bit of kind of pseudo fasting. In some cases, it's just I haven't been that hungry, so it's worked out that I'm eating like maybe 2 meals a day. I know that some people tout, 1 meal a day as something to do. I do eat when I am hungry, but I have been trying to keep it within an 8-hour period, like they say to do. And so over the last 2 months, I have lost 25 pounds. That is a little bit higher than what they prefer because I think it's usually they want you to lose 1 to 2 pounds a week. And so that puts me at about 3 pounds. But, we'll see. I have to admit, I'm getting a little bit tired of eggs, eggs and cheese. But, that's what the carnivore thing is. And if they could find some stuff that tastes really good, that doesn't have a lot of carbs or sugar in it, then maybe I'd eat more of that. But I'm not a quinoa gal. I'm not a sprouts kind of gal. So it's been a little bit of a struggle. So anyway, that comes with health, which gets $10. So yeah, we'll see how this little journey goes. But I have been getting a couple of supplements too, which has impacted our health bucket here. I don't know why everything has to be so expensive. Why does it all have to be so expensive? All right, so that puts us at $20 for health. So there's that. Household doesn't get anything. I'll be honest, I cannot remember what we cleared household out to pay for. Gas gets $100. I'm hoping we won't have to do a lot of traveling, but with Thanksgiving coming up, we're gonna definitely have at least 2 dinners to go to. So I don't know if we'll be in a position to only spend $30 for gas like we did this previous pay period. License and fees gets $11. And that, we've got the 1s and we've got the 10s. All right, so we've got 50, 70, 80, 90, 100, 10, 25, 35, 45, 55, 65, 75, 85, 86, 186. So for this one, we'll be at 197 next time. And so, yeah, it will be at the end of December that we will have breached the $200 mark. So from January into March, the money that would normally go to license and fees, we will probably fill something in here with instead. And then we'll start back over in March when we take whatever money we need to for my business license. Nothing for miscellaneous at this time. Pets, oh boy. So pets is clear. We have spent so much money on Gus. So much money. And we're still paying. He had an appointment 2 days ago. Yes, no. What is today? Today is Monday. He had an appointment on Friday. That cost us another $175. We probably need to refill his ear meds again, which I believe the last time that cost $100. And then he is slated to have yet another appointment in about, I think, 2 weeks, which who knows how much that is going to cost. So basically, he has cost us quite a bit, and we are just constantly underfunded in pets right now. Miss Nixie, that's our black lab, she is going to be due for her rabies and getting her dog license thing. So that's going to be a cost coming up too. I think next month is when she's due. So I am hoping that we can put the stupid ear issue that Mr. Gus has to bed once and for all, so we're not having all these constant appointments and things. And I'll be honest, I don't know, sometimes I feel like they're just having appointments so that they can charge us. That's probably just my we don't have any money in our fund self-talking. But yeah, it's been a little bit of a rough time. So we'll see. We'll see where that lands. I'm hoping that we can start having a few months where we have no dog or cat issues and we can start getting this bulked back up. We'll have to have a discussion on whether we need to be doing more than $160 a month. That felt like an appropriate amount, but obviously we're finding that that's not really been adequate once a whole bunch of things start to hit. Prime. Where are we with Prime? Prime is already filled because we are at $144 and Prime is $139. So we are funded for Prime. So Prime, we are not going to do anything with. We are going to take the $12 that would have gone to Prime and put it together here for other usage. Taxes. Now, because we have been having some sales with Etsy, a little bit higher than expected, we are no longer at a credit standpoint for what we're expecting taxes to cost. So this $20 that goes to taxes, we are going to fund taxes with it. If we had still been in a credit standpoint, then we would have put it with this others so that we could use it to fund other items, but that's not the case. So we are at 100, 20, 40, 60, 80, 200, 20, 40, 60, 80, 320, 40, 50, 60, 70, 5, 85, 95, 96, 97, 98. $398. Now, this payment does and may put us in a position, so even if we do have sales, reasonable amount of sales in December or for the rest of this month, we may not need to fund this again. And if that's the case, then the 2 payments of $20 or the $40 that we would be making in December may be available to fund some of these others. We'll just have to kind of keep an eye on the spreadsheet and what it calculates. And again, who knows? We may be holding this money and it ends up not being needed. I may not need to pay taxes. It may all be covered by the general, tax credit or whatever. Maybe we'll even end up with me getting a refund. And if that is the case, then we will definitely distribute this money. And because we're not going to just roll it over. We're only keeping money for the year in which I'm being taxed for my Etsy sales. So we will start this fresh in January. So obviously, whatever funds we have in here at the end of December, we will need to paper clip them so that we know that that's just 2024 coverage. And then as we start to have sales in 2025, that'll be a separate group that we put in here. I am very much actually hoping that we don't need this money because frankly, it could absolutely go to Christmas costs or pet costs. Get us a jump start on that. There's a lot of places where we're a little bit light that we could certainly use the money. Savings, we don't touch. Yard cleanup. We are now back to funding yard cleanup. We funded let's see, we'll go with this color. We funded the apple trip as a temporary hiatus on the yard cleanup, but we are now back. And the $100 from this pay period, second pay period of November, does go to yard cleanup. So we are now at $100, $200, $300, $400, $500, $600, $700 saved. It is in one of our savings accounts. We just decided we weren't gonna have it be in actual cash. As far as the Apple trip is concerned, we went there this weekend, and due to timing, the days people had off, weather, things like that, we unfortunately were only able to go there on their very last day of being open. And so what that means is when we got there, they didn't have their normal big spread in their parking lot of huge bins of apples, all sorts of varieties of apples in huge quantities all out so that you can, walk around and enjoy them all, pears and other things. They didn't have any cider donuts, which after, what I've discussed already about my health stuff, I didn't really need them. But they did have their kind of what they call their fruit stand, which is the inside their building. So there were still lots of different varieties. They were just in much smaller quantities. So what I am basically saying is, yes, we went in, we got what we needed. Mr. M got a bunch for cider making. He probably got more than he needed. I got a smaller amount for applesauce because I looked it up to see how much I need to get, and I'm hoping I'm going to get 12 pints out of it. We don't eat applesauce super often, so I figured one for each month should suffice. We may make applesauce too, because I think we still have some apples in the freezer from previous years that we really should use up. And if we do, then that of course will augment. But there wasn't really a lot to document. I did do a little bit of video, and I took some still photos and stuff, but I don't know if I'll be able to make any kind of coherent display of our trip. The weather was kind of so I'll see what I can do. If I'm not feeling super confident about the end result, it may just be me picking stills out of the video to show, you know, some of the variety of apples. But we'll see. I'm hoping that I can put something useful together. All right. So now we still have $12. What do we want to do with it? You know, I probably should put it in the pets fund, but honestly, I don't think $12 is really going to go very far for what we need it to. So I am just going to add it to Christmas because that also needs additional help. And so we'll note plus 12. So we're at 288 instead. All right. Well, that is my chaotic cash stuffing with a lot of blathering on. If you have any questions, feedback, or suggestions, please note those down below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. And I did a little bit of a thank you in our budget recap, but again, thank you to everybody who has subscribed and pushed us over the 1,000 subscriber number. Never thought we would get there, so I am incredibly appreciative of having that many people who have been interested in seeing what we're doing for at least some point in time. As always, I'm very much looking forward to seeing what you guys have to say about all the stuff that I babbled on about. And yeah, I guess I'll end it here because it's already a kind of long video. So I hope I see you in the next one.